All right, well, we can go ahead and get started. So thanks everybody again for joining. Just a few housekeeping items. Microphones are all automatically muted, just to make sure that we don't have any, feedback or anything like that. We do have the chat and Q&A option. And so if you do have any questions during this time, feel free to drop information in the chat, and we'll be sure to answer any questions that you have. This will be recorded as well, so we'll be sure to share that recorded link with you following the presentation. So probably later today, early afternoon, we'll get that out to you. So you can share that with your team or any other individuals that you think may be interested in the information. Other than that, I will hand it off to John from Vaion and Scott Whitman, our lead physical security person. Thanks.
Thanks, Elise. I'm John Duty with Vaion. I appreciate you guys joining. I don't know, Scott, if you want to say a few words first before I get into this.
Sure, I'm Scott Whitman. I'm one of the security systems engineers here at Camera Corner and ACP. I've been with the company 9 years now in the physical security division, and we're a full solution partner, able to provide from full installation of surveillance systems, access control, any of the physical security needs you might have for your companies.
Great, thanks. So we are partners with Camera Corner. Vaion, I've been with Vaion for a year now. The pedigree of Vaion, I'm just going to give you guys a quick synopsis and then we'll really get into this thing, but I think it's important, especially nowadays as we're all on these video conferencing platforms. So, the folks behind Vaion were really the founders, creators, and executives behind modern day video conferencing, Cisco WebEx. So Tandberg, Econo, and Codian were all organizations that our folks were either executives or investors of. And those companies were purchased for over $4 billion from Cisco. And that Cisco WebEx and some of their video conferencing collaboration platforms are all based on these three organizations. So from there, our guys started Ubon Partners, an investment firm, and they've been investing in really cutting edge type technology. So Zoom, which is a platform that we're on now, they're partners with Ubon Partners, and we have products like Neat for Zoom that is exclusive to the Zoom platform, and there's some other companies like Disruptive Technologies that are out there under the Ubon umbrella. So myself and what Camera Corner is focused on is under the AVA platform. So AVA is our parent company. Vaion is the physical security organization under AVA, and Jazz Networks, if anyone's heard of Jazz has been around a little while. They are our cybersecurity, that's our cybersecurity platform. We're a spinoff of Jazz. So Camera Corner also has access to our cybersecurity platform, and we're merging the two technologies together as an offering. So in the next 12 to 18 months, you're going to see some cool, unique cyber and physical solutions coming out. But today we're really here to focus on Vaion. What is our mission? So we want to address customer needs for real-time proactive security to prevent threats from becoming incidents. This is true AI, true artificial intelligence. So we need to be proactive in what the sensor sees, but you're also able to write rules and set alarms to allow that proactiveness to occur. We also want to deliver efficiencies through fast forensic in order to reduce wasted hours of video. So once you get those alerts, or when you have an incident, you're able to go into our software, into our system, and run intelligent searches that really cuts down on your time searching, forensic. And then 3 is provide new operational insights and cost savings through intelligent insights using what the camera sensor sees and collect that meaningful data. There's a lot of data that these cameras are collecting, but it's what do we do with it? And now we have technologies that can actually produce a level of insight that normally we did not have. And how we do this really is through computer vision, and we incorporate machine learning to simplify security operations and deliver on the promise of video surveillance. You'll see once our system is in there, after about a week or so, it starts learning your your atmosphere, right? It starts learning your application. It starts learning what is unique, what is, cars are driving here, people are walking here. And then when unusual events happen, you're going to see, you're going to get alerts on that. So how we do it is we are an end-to-end solution. Vaion we manufacture our own cameras. It's all, none of it's OEM, it's all of our stuff. Our facilities in Taiwan. We're headquartered out of Oslo. All of our analytics and our software is developed in our London, Uxbridge actually, office. We have a New York office for sales. But everything end to end is Vaion, with the exception of our servers. We OEM Dell for the servers. So our cameras, today, they do need to be connected into our server, but we are building this camera line out to be a full-fledged cloud solution. So in 90 days, we are launching the Vaion Cloud. So our cameras, through a firmware upgrade, will no longer need that appliance or that server to run. We're doing all the recording, we're doing all the analytics, and we're doing all the processing with a mini GPU actually built in at the edge of the cameras. And then you as a user would sign on and manage your site or your different sites in the cloud. There's some other companies that came from the Cisco pedigree that are out right now doing this. But we also recognize that most of the world is on-prem, so it's important to help migrate those folks into the world of cloud if that's what you wish to do. So our servers apply the smarts and the analytics onto your existing camera infrastructure. So whether it's our cameras or it's ours, we're bringing those smarts from that server and software side. We have direct drivers, integrations with OnVIF, with Axis, with Hanwha, with Vivotech, built with the Visualon cameras. It's a very open platform. We have Aircont, Sony sites working, and that is the that is really an added benefit that we're able to do under the VMS. So we have certain solutions that require third-party plugins to make it smart and intelligent, to run analytics, counting, and things like that. But that requires extra hardware, another box, extra licensing, third-party plugin. We're doing everything under the hood. The other cool thing about our cameras is that our cameras, we're embedding analytics, sound analytics at the edge. So everything I'm going to show you today can be done with third-party cameras, except for the sound. If you want sound analytics, that has to be a Vaion camera. And that's gunshot, people aggression, and glass breaking. And this is how we kind of put it all together. We also have an app, right? We have an iOS and an Android app. It's third-party or our cameras, our software, our UI, and either our server or our cloud. That's how we can deploy these systems. And we do it differently under the VMS. There are some manufacturers that you need to put the analytics and the smarts at the edge of their camera. Others, they just don't offer it in the VMS. So you need to have a third-party system. If it's counting, it's companies like ShopTrack or BriefCam or these very expensive third-party analytics. We're doing it, like I said, all under the hood. We're providing new map experiences, interactive maps for real situational awareness and intelligence, analytics that can provide historical timelines and do really dynamic views and spotlighting. Spotlighting is when we say, hey, you may have 300-400 cameras. An operator is not going to be able to view all this. So we will tell the operator which camera to look at based on the anomalies, based on the rules, and based on certain motion events. We have simplified management and rules implementations, and we have a bunch of data that we're able to export into CSV files that I'm going to show you. And then the open API and webhooks allow us to integrate into a whole bunch of other alerting or messaging systems like Slack and Microsoft Teams. So I am going to go into a software demo, but I do want to show you, really what it is that we can do. We're layering these objects, we're layering these bounding boxes onto, this is Axis and Hanwha cameras. So now in a single pane of glass, I'm seeing the parking lot, indoor and outdoor of my facility. I'm getting counts of the people in my office. I'm getting the counts people on the side and people in the parking lot. I can get alerts when the parking lot gets above a certain threshold. I could get alerts when there's too many people sitting in an area, right? If we're supposed to only have 10 and now all of a sudden I have 12, we need to remove 2 people from this area. And going in and searching and finding what you're looking for is really, really intuitive. You see this timeline, right? The blue are people, the purple are vehicles. So we're able to classify what those objects are in a timeline, allowing for really, really easy searching. And then really new operational insights. So this is a whole new world that we're living in, right? With social distancing and people counting, and or you can only have 9 people at a party, and then in this, in 6 months we're going to allow it to be 50 people. Well, how are you going to manage that? I think we've all seen Home Depots and Lowe's and some of these other Targets that they literally will have people standing there with walkie-talkies and doing manual counts. We all know that that's not accurate, and that's really not sustainable. So here, with mapping, we can track where certain people are moving. We can get alerts when those counts hit above a certain threshold. We can make sure that people are 6 feet apart. We can run reports proving that we've only had, 9 or less people every hour, every minute, every day in our facility, and here's a report behind it. So I'm going to show you how to do all this here in a second. We have customers right now doing this. We have customers right now, that are doing counting, and I'm going to go to a site that is a market that they're not allowing people in when there's more than 8 people in this area. The area is a produce area that just so happens to be where 2 of the cash registers are. Here is a customer. This is a big box store, right? That we're doing some counting and customer pickup things with right now with the new social distancing. But this is what we were doing even before, and it's all based on counting and loitering rules. So they have high dollar value lanes. So when a customer enters that lane, not walking through the lane, when there is 1 person or more that has dwelled there for 30 seconds or more, so they're not just walking through, they're actually standing there looking, they're either shopping or they're about to steal something. So alerts go out and an employee enters to help them, right? And this is actually enhancing customer service, but it's also decreasing shrinkage at the store in their high value lane. So we're actually doing some more development with this customer where our AI is learning the employee uniform. So when the employee enters that lane, the rule will automatically reset. Right now, somebody has to reset the rule. It will automatically reset as that employee exits the lane, and therefore, when somebody else comes in, the rule will happen again. We're reporting we're having generated daily reports for this customer where they're getting all the insights into these lanes, more insights than they could have ever imagined. Think about locating your customers or your employees, right? We have retail again, that they have lanes, cash register lanes. When there's 3 or more customers that are there for 2 minutes, there's alerts going out and they're opening more cash register lanes. When customers are now picking up at the stores, because you can't go into the stores, right? So customer pickup at places like Home Depot and Lowe's, but also restaurants. Well, we now, when a vehicle enters that pickup area, alerts are going off with the images, and they know what kind of car that the customer is picking up in, and they're bringing their items out to that vehicle. This is all relevant things that we are automating now in our VMS. And these are some snapshots of that market I was talking about. So check this out. I mean, this is the door is right into this produce area, and they have two of the cash registers right there. Not really good for what's happening right now. So they actually purchased a $35 Raspberry Pi, and we're running through our webhooks. We're sending the counts to a free service that that now they're going to trigger this door. Actually, keep that door shut, and that until there's less than 8 people in this area, then that door will unlock, and if there's a customer in there, it will open and they can let them in. All triggered through our VMS. And this is actually one of the I took some screenshots of the service. So it's just a dashboard that counts how many people. If there's 6 or less people, it's you can enter and doors are opening. If there's 7, it's asking you to just hold on for a second, and then 8 or more, it's a red do not enter, doors will be locked. But they're also getting some reports on ebbs and flows of customers coming in and out, and some data that they never really had before. We talked a little bit about this and the at store pickup. So let's actually show you what this baby looks like. How we doing? Do we have any questions that we can answer, or should we just go right in?
Doesn't look like we have anything in the chat, but if you do have questions, feel free to use that chat or Q&A, and we'll be sure to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to shut my video off because Zoom and the bandwidth and all that stuff. I got a lot of video I'm going to be running here. This is our demo site. This server is located in our New York office. Most of these right now are simulated videos or videos that we're testing and things that we're testing for prospects and existing customers. I am going to hit us up in a couple actual end user sites that were kind enough to allow us permission. But I do want to hit on a couple things here. So we're a browser-based system. There is no client software that needs to be loaded. It was built on Chrome, but it works on all the Chrome browsers, IE. It works on Firefox. Tablets, this thing renders itself great on if you have like the Chrome app. Left-hand side is a list of all of our cameras. We can name these and group these however you want. You see we have a ton of different sites, a lot of different cameras, 58 of them. So I can search, my New York office site if I want. I can search all my entrance cameras if I want. It's a nice little search engine that we built in here. And then you could customize your layouts and save your views. It's a very visual VMS, what we have going on here. You'll see that there's some spikes going on. So those are the spikes that I showed you on the PowerPoint. This is a timeline, but this is giving us just a 30-minute snapshot of activity that's happening in each of these scenes. So blue spikes are people. These scenes have a lot of people activity right now. If there was purple spikes like the lower right, those are vehicles. So in that parking lot, we have vehicle activity, and I can launch this, go into open, and search. I know where there's going to be a human in the scene because I have this blue spike, and there is a person. And I can be in search on this pane, on this view, and live on this view. And if I want to go back, I just close my timeline. It's also rotating. It's rotating based, right now I have a view of 9. If I wanted to do a view of, or I'm sorry, I do a view of 4. If I wanted to go into a view of 9 or 16, whatever, it's just going to show me the top 9 most interesting camera feeds, things that are happening that I should be focused on right now. If there was an anomaly, something weird that the system saw, it would be presented as a gold box. If it's a man-made rule, it'll be presented as a red box. And we could get alerts through pop-ups, emails, on our apps, in Slack, Microsoft Teams, or some other systems through webhooks. I'll show you how we do that as well. There's an anomaly happening right now in the lower middle screen. After, like I said, a week or so, the system starts knowing, what is usual activity. It's not used to seeing a a vehicle just stop and park right there. So maybe it's interesting, maybe it's not. You could actually begin to teach the AI of things that you deem interesting and not interesting. The other thing I want to show you here is this market that we're testing. By the way, I could just double click on a view, or I could click on a camera and just slide and click and drag. So this is that light. So based on what it's seeing in this area, it's seeing a total of 8 people. Now, people can come in through other sections of the store. Employees are coming in and out. So it's not necessarily people coming in. Now there's only 6 people in that area. So if there's people sitting there waiting outside to come in, that door is now triggered to unlock, and they have that green light saying, please come in. Bunch of people just walked in. Now there's 11, and it's telling if there's anyone else outside, you can't come in anymore. Just another way to automate the counting and social distancing. All right, let's hit up a live site. This is a hotel that specifically used us for counting. They're counting people in the lobbies. They're counting parking as well. And you know, they're open for business, and you see them cleaning right now. They want to open for more business. So they're adhering to certain guidelines. Now, the state of Wisconsin, this is actually in Milwaukee, the state of Wisconsin had a federal ruling, but the Milwaukee County overruled that ruling. So they are in Milwaukee County, and they have to adhere to guidelines. When I open this playback, I'm in playback. This is recorded video. I can quickly go back to see where all my people are. There's a lot of blue spikes here, right? So I could come in and say, oh man, let's see, where are these folks now? I can come and click on this magnifying glass and click on these objects. So if I click on an object of a person, it's going to run an appearance search across all my cameras in my facility. Now here I only have access to 7 of their cameras. And it's going to start off with a 30-minute search, but I can say, hey, were you here before? Were you at a store or a facility stealing something and now trying to return it here? And you see, we have this guy's journey across different cameras. And it looks like he actually did go into the hotel, and now he's in the lobby. So I could come in here based on recency. Ooh, looks like he was in there and he left out that door. That's interesting. We don't have a camera outside on that door. So now I can bring up his journey, right? And I could start tagging him as he's exiting. He's outside. And now I can export. I can bookmark, save this to the server. I can export it, you know, to an MP4 Vaion format. You could give it a password if you want, and send this off to the other building operator, the police, or whoever. I can share this link because this is signed. This server, even though it's in the hotel in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they've given it that remote access. So Vaion, through our cloud gateway, has given it this unique IP address. And this unique IP address is dedicated to that server. And based on permissions, I now can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you 2 weeks to view this clip. And I can text it to you, email it to you, Slack it to you, Teams it to you, whatever. You're now viewing this guy's journey and the clips of him coming in and out of the facility across all your different cameras. And I would probably get him in more cameras if I had access to all of them. But that's incredible. So literally in a matter of seconds, I just clicked on somebody, I ran a search across all the site, and then I did export, and we viewed those without having to download any player files or having any client software on your desktop or laptop. But we do have other ways to search intelligently. So maybe you want to know there's a guy with a red shirt that is coming in and doing pickpocketing. Okay. Let's search for people. Let's go 3 days, people. So all the people in the last 3 days that have been in that main entrance camera view with red tops. Well, this guy's got a whole red outfit. So check this out. I can, maybe he's my interesting one that I'm looking for. Oh, that looks like the guy. Now I pin him. Let's run a search across all of our cameras. Same time frame. And see if this was our guy. Oh, there he is. He was inside of the hotel at one point. I wish I had access to all the cameras. But there he is. And then you could export. Oh, there's our guy. Hey, check this link out real quick. Is this him? Bam. Send it off. And we're viewing. Fast, this is that fast forensic searching that I was talking about, but there's a bunch of others. Maybe you want line crossing. Everything I'm showing you so far is people, but we could do vehicle. By the way, this site is a Visualon SL cameras, so they're like the lower end cameras that a Visualon has, and we took it over and we applied our analytics to do the counts on, and I'll show you that here in a sec. But I'm having too much fun right now with this searching. So let's say you wanted to know how many people drove through this entrance or, this intersection. You could do it based on directions going in and out or both. I'll just do the last 12 hours. You could customize your searches too here and put in an exact date and time. But here we are, right? And hey, has that truck been around anytime? And it's just going to search in the last 24 hours for UPS type looking trucks. And it looks like that car hadn't been there in a while. Must be a every other day type thing. So that's the intelligent type of searching. But all of those vehicles, were moving in or moving out of that intersection. Other ways to search is loitering. We default to 60 seconds, but you can adjust this as well. People or vehicles. I want to know, how long did we have these 10 people in here for? Okay. Let's search. I'll search all their cameras. This is going to probably be a lot of people sitting at the front desk. But this is just people standing around in an area for 60 seconds or more. That's loitering. And we could search for that. Sound would be searching for our, gunshot or glass break. They don't have cameras at this site. But all of these can also be proactive rules. So before I show you the rules, let's get into those counts. This is showing us objects in the view right now. So they're saying in our lobby, we only have 2 people in the lobby. Parking lot is showing, vehicles that it's seeing overall in the scene. All right. And then, and you notice it's changing in real time. If you want to get a good, accurate count of anything, of people, of vehicles, it's got to be set at a choke point. So they're doing the main entrance. They reset it every day at 3 p.m. and it's only counting people. And then you set what your time zone is. And there's the line. So as people move out and they cross that center line, it's -1. As a person moves in, crossing that center line, it's +1. So that's the same thing that we did here. That's the same thing that we did here with this camera. However, just with vehicles. And this camera is not meant to count vehicles, so they're actually going to buy another camera and put it closer to the choke point because they like the results that they're getting. And it's funny, the only place that the leads are not coming in it would be where they might be of an obstruction. But right now, as a vehicle goes in, crosses that center line +1, we have multiple sites and customers that have several ways in and out, both pedestrian and vehicles. So if you have multiple choke points, you would set them up here in an area of interest. So if you can go into the parking lot this way, you draw your line, you say what the indirection is. And if a vehicle moves in this way, it's +1. But if that same vehicle were to move out in this direction, it's -1. Therefore, your count in the lot or in the lobby is accurate. And now we can run reports. So if you want to prove that you were adhering to social distancing measures, you can do that. Let's do it in the main entrance. Let's just run it the last, 3 days. I'm terrible with military time. You can run it by the minutes, by the hours, or by the days. So if you want to run, let's do 4-hour intervals, proving that you've been adhering to social distancing guidelines, which they clearly have not been. This is showing you people in. This is showing you people out. This is showing you max people dwelling in an area at a time. We can do a lot of data here. Okay, we could do a lot of data. Right now, it's a manual process. You still have to come in and download and give out the parameters. But soon on a next release, you're going to be able to create a rule and automate this process. Check out what they did with their maps as well. So we have interactive maps built into the VMS. This is live right now. So these are the vehicles that it's seeing on the street. And if you see cars moving like this one, it's because it's moving down the street in real time. Purple are vehicle emojis. People will be blue. And you see they've also put the counts on the map. Counts of their parking lot in, out, and how many are in there. And you could also layer the counts here on the map. So right now, overall, what it's seeing is 4 people and 27 vehicles. When I click on the emoji, I can actually see those people. And if I want, I can go into an appearance search here and find out what are they doing in my lobby? Where are they right now? You could also search this map. So notice like it's changing the counts. Here's a pop-up that they got. When I click on that pop-up, they have the map. See how it's a split screen here? The map with the person, the video clip, and now I could come in and export or bookmark. You could search this map. And notice the counts are changing as well. So, oh, well, where were we at 9 o'clock with the counts? All right, bring it over to 9 o'clock. We had 181 in, 156 out. And it will change as I adjust the timeline. The way we did this is pretty simple. We're also, at the end of this quarter, there's going to be a release with heat mapping. So you'll be able to click on a button, a layer, and really get a good understanding of where those people are standing, where they're dwelling, where they're moving. Same thing with vehicles. There'll be more social distancing measures built around that heat mapping as well. On the edit button, we click on this button, and this is how we import the maps. It could be just a Google Earth, or it could be a TIFF, JPEG image, drawing. We have customer sites that have multiple maps, layering maps on top of maps. You plot out your cameras. Maybe it's not a perfect cone, right? So let's say, I don't know, let's say it's over here. All right, so let's say it's just not a perfect cone like that. Here, actually, that's if it's a nice little 360. But let's say you want to do an advanced field of view. You could click on this advanced field of view. It's giving us the image. And now you can plot out where it actually is here in the camera compared to where it is in the map. All right, and then B is up here. And we'll say B is over here. And now C's down here, and C's over here. Then D's up here, and then D's over here. And now I calculate the field of view, and notice it is on the map now rendering itself into more of a, I guess that's a rectangle or whatever I did, I don't know. And this is what allows us, you know, really accurate renderings of the emojis and the overall field of view. I'm going to cancel that and delete it from the map. Okay. But you could also add your counts too. So that's where they plotted the counts on the parking lot and the main entrance. And then you could add extra information like first aid kit, emergency exits, fire detectors, and stuff like that on this map. It's a very interactive map, but it also gives, so we have schools that, you know, it's the map is on a monitor at a resource center, and they're, you know, they're monitoring to see if kids are wandering down school hallways. But it's also a really good visual indicator of people loitering. Of all of a sudden you have a crowd of 20 people that just showed up. You're getting the count, you could get an alert based on a rule, and you have a visual of the map. So the rules are pretty simple. If I add a rule, click on this button to add a rule, you can do appearances. Let me know when humans are present in the scene. Let me know when a human with a blue shirt comes on the scene. You could get pretty granular there. You could draw your virtual fence lines, right? I want to know anytime a human or a person crosses this area. And you can draw multiple, you could have multiple cameras for the single rule, and you could have multiple lines for the single rule. Maybe you don't care if they come in, you just want to know when they come out, or vice versa. I just don't want anybody on my lawn here, so I'm going to draw multiple lines covering the lawn. And you can build out schedules. So maybe it's Monday between this time, Tuesdays between this time, or weekdays, weekends, or I'm just going to click always. So you could get customize the heck out of your schedule. And now, how do we want it to alert? So you guys have seen the pop-ups. You could require them to make an acknowledgement. The pop-ups could be for all users. It could be for specific users or groups. Same thing with the email alerts, all users, specific users or groups. You could have a call to action. You're receiving this alarm. Please call so-and-so at this number. We could also iOS, Android alerts through the app. And then these webhooks. So if you have customer, you know, or if you guys are running or working with through Microsoft Slack or Microsoft Teams and Slack, or any visitor management type systems, we can webhook into those systems and give you alerts. So here's an example. At Vaion, we work in Slack. So if there was a live alert, I would have got a do-do-do-do-do-do, and then I would click on that that link. It sends me right into the alarm section, and if there was the alarm, it would actually be playing the video with the description. So this is people hallway in the class. This school actually had alerts for kids wandering during classroom hours and getting an alert on that. So there's obviously no kids in there right now, and there's this guy that walked through the hallway during what would be normal class time. And check this out, even from the alarm, I can run a search on this guy. And the better image I have of him, like there's more of a headshot, I guess. I can refine my searches. That's only over the last, let's see, the last 12 hours. So now I'm seeing this guy all over the place in my school. Find out how he got in. Who else is he with? And now where is she? Pretty incredible stuff. They did a really good job with their map here. I know I'm going a little bit off subject, but here they've layered maps. They used to get, once the lunch line got above 50, they would get alerts, so people would help them. And they also monitor the counts overall in the cafeteria. Oh, how I wish it was back to normal times. All right, so back to the rules. Simple, easy to set up, lots of different ways to get alerts and lots of different ways to search for things, right? It's a user and permission-based system, so you can build out as many user groups and roles as you want. We have unlimited users built in. We don't charge for that. It's just really a single license, and it's based on how many cameras you have. But you can customize a user experience really well with this. Like maybe the guards can only, view the map and see live but not share any video. So you could customize a user experience here. When creating a rule for the counts, we give you a lot of options. So we're entering a world where, in certain states, you just can't have more than 50 people gathering in a public space, and you can't have more than 10 gather in a private, which is, that's just the rules right now in a lot of states. And if you want to adhere to the rules and do all that, you can have people walking around counting and doing all that, or you can automate it. And we hope that people continue to automate it. So if you want to know if there's more than 10 people, so more than 9, we got 10 people, at any time, send me an alert. If you want to know when people are gathering in a certain area, you create an area of interest and say, hey, when there's less than 4 people there, send me an alert. If I have a cash register, we're doing this today. If I have a lane and there's more than 3 customers standing there for 2 minutes, send an alert. We need to open up another register. This is operational efficiencies. This is adhering to social distancing and counting guidelines. This is so much more, and everything we can do on vehicles as well. So okay, which are your cameras, when, and now how do you want to be alerted? So lots of different things we can do around the counting and around the rules to make it proactive. So without getting, really into anything too technical, that's how Vaion is adhering to these guidelines. Our customers are adhering to these guidelines. We're proving that we can adhere to these guidelines with reporting that is built into the VMS. It is a video management system at its core. We do have the open drivers, to bring in third-party cameras. We do have our own cameras with built-in sound analytics, but really the key is to apply these smarts to whatever you have. If you don't want to run it as the main VMS, you have a primary VMS. We do have customers out there that are running it side by side. So they're only licensing a handful of the cameras to do counts in their lobbies, or to build out a virtual fence line on their campus to get alerted when people come on. Parking garages that just want, the counts and the alerts, and then through a webhook to present the counts on a digital board. So we have that, and we have, small little servers that aren't expensive, that you can connect to your, a handful of cameras and definitely run it that way and get alerts, via the app. We have out in LA, a hospital that has 1,400 cameras, and they have a competing VMS, but they have an emergency room that gets crazy at a drop of a dime. So once that count gets above, I think it's like 25 or something, once it gets above a certain threshold, alerts go to administrative and security personnel, and they send people out to manage it. So there's all sorts of different things we can do. In that school that I sent you, or that I showed you via Slack, we were doing training for them, and they were missing their cleaning machine. They had to clean the gym floor. So they asked us if our system, they had a competing system that wasn't as smart, if our system can find it. Now, we could upload images in this system and find vehicles and certain objects. The algorithm is being taught facial features right now, not facial recognition, but facial features. So at the end of this quarter, you can upload an image of a person and do a similar search. So what my engineer, Brian Meeks, did was, while he was training them, they went on Google and they found an image that looked similar to their cleaning machine, and they just uploaded it. And it ran a search on the indoor cameras. Most of their cameras indoors are Sony. I think they had a couple Axis cameras as well. But it's doing a search across 55 cameras in 12 hours, looking for an image that looked like that. It was plugged into a wall in the back of their cafeteria. And now we're doing this here. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of the next release, but we're doing it with other objects, and you could see we'll be doing it with faces as well. So there's a face one. So check out, you could select objects. We're going to add bags to this too. So if you want to search for just bicycles or just a bag or a person or a vehicle, you could do this. This search we're running across 14 third-party cameras across a 3-day period. And it's presenting us with results of just bicycles. And I know you're saying, okay, the first one is a car. It says SUV. But I promise you there's a bicycle attached to the back of that SUV. And then the truck here overtook the bounding box of the of the bicycle here. So you see the bicycle coming, we draw the bounding box, and then the truck comes. So it actually did pretty well here with this search. So it's an intelligent system. Proactive, forensic. Is there any questions?
I just want to jump in and let people know that you keep on mentioning that there's all these new features coming, that these are features that you get automatically, that's part of the license that they're purchasing for the cameras, that they're getting all the new features as they come out. The new releases are able to be installed to the system. They're just downloaded from the web, and you get all the new features.
That's a great point, Scott. Yeah, there is no, we're not, there's no SLAs or anything like that, but we're not going to come back to you in, 4 or 5 years and say, hey, you need a new server and you need to upgrade into a new major release. You're just automatically getting those updates. This is a live site right now, a car dealership up in Minnesota. They took actually, it's funny, in their you see that this is a lot of cars right in their lot, but in their office they took off the bounding box, or they took off the emojis for the people for the vehicles, because they only care about the people. They want to know when people are out walking around on the lot, and then they send out that guy must have walked in, there she is, and then they send out security personnel. And you see they have some stuff going on. They have countings going on in their service garage bay, people in the view in certain lobbies. This customer did not have, originally when they had us, they didn't have the counting feature. The counting feature was a release that all of a sudden they had, so now they're utilizing it. Before they were just, they bought this, they had a competing system, they dropped ours in. They have a bunch of Acti cameras, older cameras that are low res, and they have a monitoring company that monitors the site for them. So they switched it out, and now they're getting alerts. Seriously, here's one. Like, this was like, they saved it. This was like a week after putting the system in. Look at how bad the resolution of these cameras are. So we're trying to sell them Vaion cameras, but these guys, they get an alert that humans are present on the scene. It's like 11 o'clock, 10:55 at night. The monitoring company's watching them. These guys then go into the service lot and steal a customer ATV that was being serviced. So here I'm running an appearance search for these guys. So you see them as they're coming in and walking through the facility. But check this out. This is where they come through, steal the ATV out of the service bay. And at this point, the monitoring company does a talk down. And here you see the guys take off running, and the police caught them about a half a block away. One of the nights they caught people stealing scraps. They didn't catch the guys, but they did a talk down and saved the scraps. And another guy was caught stealing tires. So this site in particular gets $7,000 to $8,000 a month stolen off of it or damage done to it. And in a matter of a first week of switching out, we caught 3 people. But yes, counting and anything that they have, any new features and new, it's just an automatic update and an automatic to you through a firmware upgrade. Any other questions? Oh, what's that guy doing?
Doesn't look like we have any other questions in the chat. I'm just going to put a general email box that if you have any questions or you wanted to get a demo or schedule time with one of our security experts, you can email contact us at cccp.com, and we'd be happy to forward that information on to the appropriate parties to get something scheduled. As I said, we will definitely send a recorded link out later this afternoon to you, so look forward to that. But otherwise, we'll hang out for a couple more minutes in case anybody has any additional questions. Thank you so much for joining, and thanks John and Scott for joining and giving us good insight.
Thanks, Elise.
Yes, thanks. Not seeing any new questions pop up at all.
I'm just going to play with it's like a video game, Scott. Here, let me show you for those who are still on. If you want to run, I think this is pretty cool. If you want to run your, they have it set not to record at all. Huh, I wonder if they know that. If you want to, actually, I'm not going to mess with anything that they've done, but if you want to record your site continuously without crashing the server and taking up a bunch of bandwidth and storage, we do H.264, we do H.265, but remember our guys are video conferencing folks, so they have a whole other way of doing video transcoding. So we layered another smart codec on top of it. So right out of the box, even on third-party cameras, your system will record continuously. If there is, this is actually what it looks like out of the box. If there's nothing happening in the scene, it will record the uninteresting scene at 360, 5 frames a second. So it dumbs it down, lowers it down. If there's actually things happening in the scene that's interesting, and it's all based on the analytics, it's all based on people or vehicles, then it will record on the max resolution and frame rate of that camera. And you see these little sliders here that we give you some options. But maybe you have a camera that's looking at a choke point getting license plates, and it's a 4K camera. So you want the max resolution of that camera at 30 frames a second. You could build out your choke point groups or those camera groups and customize our smart recording essentially. But if you just want to record always or record on motion or record on certain periods of time, you can build all that out too. So it's super flexible, and I don't know why so they're like, when there's nothing happening, these folks they're not recording anything. And then if you want to go into the servers here, this is where we would cluster the different servers together and tie the different sites together. So if you do want to do a search between sites on a person or a vehicle, we work with a bunch of synagogues that are part of a network, and they run searches on vehicles. They had a white Crown Victorian that was parked out in front of one synagogue that some members were reporting. They thought it was odd. Well, they did an appearance search and found this guy was actually casing out 3 other synagogues as well in the state. And the way you do that is by tying the sites together here, and therefore you can run, based on your choosing, which sites to run that appearance search. And retail stores are doing this as well. Someone, that they think is very, they don't get a good feeling about, right? They're returning a lot of items. Let's run an appearance search on this guy and see if he was in any of the stores, you know, in our district, in our area in the last, you know, week. Maybe we can find him. Maybe he was stealing something there and trying to return it here. And then if you want to access the cloud, give that server cloud access, meaning giving it a unique IP address that allowed me to do that link sharing I was showing you. This is where you would set all that up on. And if you don't, you just click that off and you don't set it up, and then it's just a server with no access out. Alrighty.
Well, I think that we have no other questions coming in. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And as Elise said, we'll be sending out the recording to all the people that registered for this webinar. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Camera Corner and we'd be happy to help you.
Great. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.